It is of course time for our usual Duel Links updates for the month of May. I believe that's what we're going into, right? It's definitely April into May, that's what happens, but we've got a brand new box as well, released today, which no one kind of expects. I thought they'd save it for the new rank season starting on the 1st, but no, they want to be weird. Sure, why not? Now, the box overall seems fine, right? Like, you've got DDDs, you've got Sulphur Core, not Sulphur Core, you've got Val Monikers, which of course is your Pendulum archetype, and you've got Dinos, Intrasenosaurus. You've also got one of the best generic level 6 rank diseases, right? It involves a last, which is like the only card in the box I've got a real interest in. It's the only card possible, because I believe you can play it in Chimera, right? That's like a deck you can use it in, so if you want to buff that deck up, then it's a good option. But overall, the box seems fairly solid. Now, the one big thing is that we know May usually is the whole WCQ Road Towards month, so we're expecting a big campaign, we're expecting a new main box to come, a new character to come, potentially, at the end or like the mid of the month. So it's always a bit of a weird one, right, having a mini before, because it feels like a bait product. You never know if the Road Towards box is going to drastically change the metagame, and so maybe hold off on this one, but obviously if you're a DDD fan, then you are going to go all in. We've then got the Character Deck Duels update. Now, this was announced last week, but I thought we'll throw in here because we're going to need something to talk about, inevitably. This is massive, right? Getting a free Veiler from the exchange is really big for free-to-play players, and it kind of shows the evolution, I guess, of the box ship system in a way, in that through Character Deck Duels, through this new mode they have that can hopefully increase their attention time of Duel Links overall, they can give you really powerful cards that will help you in the main speed format. But they maybe aren't seeing the best return on anymore. Maybe people are going to Selection Box for it rather than go to the old box. So, like, yeah, this is just fantastic, right? And the new cards, of course, you're supporting Yusei in your Stardust, it was Cry, being a Blue Eyes buff. Warning Point could be a really big threat on the meta overall in that format, given it locks you out of Exceeding Fusion Syncering. So a rightly timed one of these on like a Shark deck, for example, you summon your Shark, the one that summons off the deck, you're then kind of boned. So there's a ton of cool options. Now, the one thing is there's no real new characters, and I hope that I would like them to establish a bit of a pattern, right, of doing 1 month we get a card update, the next month is a new character with some brand new cards, right, or 2 character example. I think would be cool to just make things not as stagnant. Maybe they do an update mid next month, maybe do an update towards the end of the month. The mode's pretty good, people are overall enjoying it. I think no one really has many complaints about how they're handling the reward structure, so all around a good thumbs up from that one from me for Konami. We know it's Road Towards campaign, or it should be at least, right? Should be having a speed portion, a rush portion first half of the month, second half being speed, like last year, and it probably won't be announced in here. They'll probably save it for announcement on like May 3rd, May 4th, for example. They'll show us the promo cards for each part of the campaign, we'll get a tease of the structure decks, and then they might do like last year and slowly drip feed stuff on socials over the course of the week. For the Rush Duel structure deck, Rush Duel box, for example, and then mid-month is the big speed portion. Now, we don't know what to expect, right? We assume for Rush Duel it'll be UDS Go Rush themed, but we don't know because the last box we got, last deck we got, was technically the new player campaign one, which is already UDS, so they might do something different this year, we don't know. But let's dive into the updates. First of all, is the Tag Duel Tournament bringing a brand new trap card for Rush Duel and Evolvesar Laios, so obviously some synergy there with the brand new box giving Evolvesar Lars, and Sacred Town Crisis, I believe, is a Book of Moon-ish card. Let's go check it out. So when you put normal summons as level 7 high monster, you can Book of Moon one effect monster they control its level lower. It's like a free-to-play version, I guess, of Shiny Shady, in a way. Has less requirement, or more requirement in terms of having to specifically target an effect monster, but only when in normal summons. So in a metagame where special summons, right, cheating cards out from the hand is super normal, this feels way too late for a free-to-play card, right? I feel like that you could have given us this towards the end of Seven's like World Year and start of Go Rush, and things would have been way different, right? This would have been a way more impactful card, released back then, but right now, doesn't really feel like it's going to do much, right? Because Shady is just way better, and has way more targets, so not a crazy fan of it, but still a cool card to get, but it feels a bit too late. Then we've got Laios, which, when it's summoned out, brings out a Evolvery Bridge or Singularity from the deck. Okay, Then during the main phase it was summoned, you can send a fire reptile down from its graveyard, then live modulate. Okay, so this one card in theory could become Lars if you've got another card to summon alongside it. Most people probably aren't playing Evolzar as a pure deck, it's just going to be kind of splashed in as a little bit of like package into a deck to get decks to rank 6, but you know what? Sure, that's fine. We've then got mid-May, which will be around the time we assume the Rush Duel start part of the campaign comes, around the 11th. Is the Rush Duel bonus trial come back? Okay, that's the PvP bonus loan decks, right? You get some pack rewards, get some gems. Overall, something they should do way more often, right? For both Speed and Rush. It makes no sense why I've not done it. It's a genuinely good thing for getting people to go into your product and just making people more aware of the format. So why not do it more? That'd be great. We've then got Euro's rerun. Okay, so Euro and Sabaraman come back. 2 brand new cards, both for Euro, I believe, and these probably won't be doing too much for the format overall. So we've got a brand new background removal. At the cost of debuffing a wind, you control 2,000 more attack points. So the field spell does buff up, meaning this card's life more often than not. However, it does mean in some situations you haven't got access to your back removal. And so at the moment I believe they're playing the machine one, even though their deck has like 4 targets or 5 targets. So I'm not sure if it will replace that card in that deck, but maybe it will. I just think, you know, there's going to be more targets, but it depends on if you can set field spell. Then we've got Atrium's Wind, which is a draw spell. Now, by default, it's a -1, right? Play itself, send a wind, draw 1. But if you've got 2 bodies in your field, you draw more. So it evens itself out. It becomes kind of a switcheroo. You know, like having the Airform Accelerator, the Eagle card, right? Actually, alive, being able to summon from the graveyard, even without skill, is pretty good. So maybe as a turn 1 option, this actually won't be that bad if you can see a high tribute, if you can see enough bodies to summon over it. So maybe there's a 1 or 2 of in the deck, but I feel like that this one probably sees more play. This one is going to cheese you like, you know, Element Circulation does. I think it's just fine, it just doesn't scream like overly amazing. We've then got late May, which is probably going to be on the 19th, judging by maintenances, right? New event underway, conquer the area to earn rewards. Okay, I like new events, sounds kind of PvE-like. All stars for new characters will be obtainable. Okay, so I'm going to assume there is no character. Okay, you're right, no character for the month, which is kind of rough given that this month, technically, there was no new character as well. But given we're getting multiple styles, it does probably line up to being more gems than a normal character. So in that sense, it's fine. And given the rewards, it does seem like it's going to be 5D'S themed. So I would imagine if you go into 5D'S, you go down the Enforcer route, right? And you say Jack, Crow, Callan. I would assume if you're pairing things up, you go Yusei and Callan, and then Jack and Crow. And the reason is because Callan doesn't have that many cards left to bring. Yusei, of course, has a bunch, Crow has a bunch, Jack has a bunch, Crow's even getting a new skill and brand new cards in Dork's China this week, so there could also be some synergy there. So Steam Synchron is a quick effect synchro summon in your opponent's turn. Okay, if there's a interruption effect on summon you can get access to, then that could be pretty good. And then Stars Mirage is a trap card that doesn't seem that great, right? It brings a bunch of bodies back from the graveyard, and that's about it. It's a very slow monster reborn if you've got a Stardust on your field. So I don't really think it's all that amazing. Now, in terms of Yusei, right, what do we got? Well, if we go and look by not released, and we go, first of all, for Synchron, just as a generic term, you've got the Junk Warrior Structure Deck stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me, right, if the new Road Towards campaign, for Yusei at least, for the speed stuff, was giving us the ult art for Junk Warrior, and then some of this stuff. I don't think we'll get the Overframe stuff. Feels a little bit too soon for that stuff, given Master wasn't getting it anytime soon. But some of these cards, right, Full Speed Warrior for example, or the new Synchro, could easily come. That could probably happen. If we go for Stardust, then there's a bit more stuff as well, right? Duel Links China again has got Trail, has got Synchron, has got, I believe, a skill that does give you access to these two. So, could also see it going down that route. If we go and look at Callan, Callan is Infernity. So Infernity has Doomslinger, which of course we have a Duel Links 5 the anime version. This one isn't released in TCG. We've got Queen, and we've got the Creepy Little Punk, which not that amazing card, right? So I don't think anyone will be super hyped for Cal to come to the game and bring more support, but if you say actual work out. If we go for Crow, then of course we have Black Wings, and there is a bunch here, and a bunch that Duel Links China is getting via a brand new box, a Soul Maze, and a Gate, and a brand new skill, which we'll talk about in a video probably on the 30th, I imagine, I think it's when it drops, because there's a lot going on there. And then of course for Jack, you've got Red Dragon Archfiend being the main thing, but there's also like more assault mode stuff, there's Fiend Piece Golem, and there's just like a whole bunch. Red Zone, for example, is an older card we haven't got yet, so there's plenty of things they could bring for like each of the enforcers to actually make them worthwhile to come to the game. It just depends on how many we get, because if you assume we get a rerun event, right, then like it's weird because if they're going to bring all 4 of them, they won't do all 4 once. They might do 2, at most 3, and then do 1 for the rerun. Or they do 2 in this one, and then when we get the rerun, those 2 immediately go to the game, right? And they kind of speed up run that. But if we look at Duel Links at the moment, how they worked with Soul Burner, how things are going with characters overall, I'm not overly confident, but I am confident in is this event hopefully being pretty good, because it seems like our first real new PvE event in a very, very long time, right? We've already seen them do some good things this year, right? Between the free pack campaign for like 2 months, character duels of course being a big thing, and now a brand new PvE event, or could be PvP. We don't know what Conquering the Area actually means, right? It could be a rerun, or like a rework of Duelist Road, for example, right? And they were getting the rerun of Duelist Road out as the last one they've got, and then they could do a brand new event. It could be that, or it could be something completely different. We don't know, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it is good enough to kind of hold up the lack of a new character for this month. Like, I was kind of hoping we'd get, you know, a Vrain's character and level cap increase, right? Blue Maiden would be cool, but no. Seems like 5D'S, which obviously for like a big new player campaign, does make sense to kind of go all in on one of the biggest anime properties the anime has, right? So that does make sense. And finally, of course, is Soul Scissors coming as a Mission Psychic card, which this card is really, really good in sealed environments, right? In low-powered environments. I don't know if we'll be able to make it work that well in Duel Links at the moment, right? I guess like if we got Ubel, for example, right, and you could like pop itself, like Unchained, for example, can pop this, and then you bring it back, and then you get the removal, right? That could also work. So if we can work into those decks, then that'd be fantastic. If we can't, then it might kind of stay a bit dormant, but like I could see this being like the new Mimicking Manatee Bug, for example, right? That's something that's being played in the lower ranks of the ladder that you just get cheesed by one day, and comes out of nowhere. So overall, a pretty solid month, I think. Again, we don't know the campaign overall. Like, we don't know the big Road Wars campaign. We have no idea technically what it is. Hopefully, we'll find out in the next week or so before it starts. I'm going to kind of just guess we are going to be getting a Junk Warrior themed deck. I think that does like align with this being the speed portion. That makes sense. The Rush one could be anything, right? Like, they could go out of their way to theme it around 7s for some reason, or they could say, you know what, because Udius has all of his stuff available via the new player deck, we'll go down the road of giving Zuijo support, right? And give a Zuijo structure deck. That'd be cool as well, given that none of the Void Velgs have been reprinted yet. So there is like a really big opportunity there for that to happen. So that'd be cool as well. But I think like this was a better month than I kind of was anticipating going into it, but we know that like right after this is going to be the 2-week World Qualifiers. Assuming things haven't changed, right, and they've moved it into like late June for some reason, which given I believe Worlds is in like early August, they probably haven't done that. So it'll just be like a couple of days, we get confirmation, and things will be all fine and dandy. Now, I did want to mention briefly, Duel Links China today announced an emergency ban list for tomorrow, banning, or not banning, limit 3ing, Lava Golem, Sphere Mode, and the new Dispatter. It's weird, right, because they got a ban before us, banning some strategy, banning the Jormungandr Serpent thing, and then Duel Links Global did kind of the same with the strategy, but not with the monster. And now, after everyone's like moaning and complaining about Lava Golem and Sphere Mode, that's not, I don't even think, doing that much in their format. They've done this, right? They've done this change that feels like a bit of a slap in the face to all of the global players that are kind of just like annoyed with the format being the way it is because of these cards existing and being playable in so many decks. So just a fun thing to kind of wrap things off, right? In that, as well as good as the month seems for Duel Links Global, in some ways, China, they've still got it better. Anyway, thanks for watching. Adios.